forgot my microphone again. How's it going, everyone? Good morning. All right, let me know about audio levels. Let me know if anything's too loud, anything's too quiet, all the normal stuff. How you guys doing today? I made the text a lot bigger on the chat thing, so you should be able to read it now. But hello, how's it going? For anybody who doesn't know, I'm Unicorn Dev, or Shayleen on ArtStation, and I'm a character artist in the UK. So we're going to be working, continuing to work on the Milo project, and I got some feedback from Miori, who is the artist who created Milo, and there's just a few adjustments I need to make to the face, but other than that, she's pretty happy with it. Then we're going to start working on hair. And then there's a new clothing extraction thing that I want to try that I saw on YouTube. So, because I have ZModeler, it'll be much easier now, but it's just a way of making these edges a lot sharper, which I definitely want to kind of work on. So I'm going to do like a mini demo for extracting clothing. We'll see how that goes, but... All good? Sounds all good? Awesome. So, hello Angel, Arctic Leech, Alpha, Drav, Commandos, Angry Man. How you all doing today? Just make sure everything's working on the stream real fast. What? Oh yeah, that's what I was worried about. Alright, cool. Am I late? You are so late, Essie. Hey Venold, how you doing? Sancom, hi. Hey Boyfruit, how you doing today? I saw your most recent dancer piece. It looked amazing. It's probably my favorite piece that you've done, actually. She looked gorgeous. How you doing, Rudolph? Okay, so let's quickly do the clothing thing while I'm here, while it's fresh in my brain. So what I like to do in my free time, I don't really watch tutorials for things. It's not something that that I usually do. But what I like to watch is speed sculpts. No Pixelogic mug today? No, it's in the wash. No, you just have a grenade lemon instead. That's the mug today. But yeah, so what I like to do is, rather than watch tutorials, I just watch speed sculpts. And I always end up picking up a lot more in speed sculpts than actual tutorials, because when you get to a point where tutorials end up repeating a lot of the really simple stuff, you kind of stop watching them. But there was a speed sculpt I was watching on someone who's working on their own fan-made Attack on Titan game, and how he did all the clothing was really interesting, so I want to try it. So we're gonna... I need to get my pure ref up, actually, so I can see how her shirt looks. Forgot to get that up. ArtStation challenge, no. Okay, so yeah, and then hopefully next week I'll start working on hands. I'm just gonna build a quicker base mesh so we can start doing these next week, hopefully, which isn't my strongest suit, so it's gonna be interesting. And I got some confirmation. I wasn't sure if her hair on the side was shaved, but she says it's tucked in, so. Oh my, that desktop, I love it, it's so good. Did you model that? No, that's done by Joe. Let me find it for you. You should definitely give him a follow on like ArtStation and everything, because he's amazing. Joe Antonio, I think is his name. Joe Atalano. I'm so bad at saying those things, but that's who it is, and here is where you can find it. Yeah, his work's awesome. Okay, so her shirt kind of sits... Let's go across this way. And just for ease, I'm gonna have it go over the elbow, because when I was doing it before and we were doing it this way, it didn't quite extract cleanly, so I'm gonna try and give it a little bit of breathing room, I guess. Just make it into an actual t-shirt. Okay, so, oops. Then just do this to make it nice and straight. Soften it a tiny bit. Okay. So what we do is we want to elbow is the armpit. Did I say elbow? Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna extract it. Doesn't really matter how thick. It's looped around itself. That's kind of annoying, but... Okay, so it looks like it's extracted all the way around this subtool as well, so what I'm going to do is delete this. Might be much easier to have it like this anyway to get the straight edge on her shirt. Okay. Okay. So let's get the mask in again one more time. Okay. Hey Kim Pyro, how you doing? Oh, thank you, Benny. I appreciate it. Is it Viennamin is the full name? I'm really bad at reading usernames, so I'm so sorry. Okay, so... just gonna slip it off her shoulder a little bit more. We can make it straighter once I've extracted it, but... Okay, let's try again. So, go to extract. Don't worry, I can like auto group that out. Just gonna check it everywhere. Okay, that seems to have done a lot better now. It's not looping around and kind of colliding with itself. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's extract that and accept it. And then I'm going to delete the... Oop. I'm going to delete the inner faces. Make sure we just have one side. Oop. Oh yeah, I need to apologize. If there's any kind of knocking, banging sounds, sawing sounds, drill sounds, anything like that, there has been some guy outside of my apartment, not even joking, right outside my apartment, sawing the frames off of doors, and has been doing that for a while, and I don't know why. And I think he got locked in a room because I heard him shout for help earlier, but why is that auto grouping that way? Oh well, I'll just do it this way. Okay. And then we're going to delete hidden. I'm going to delete this. Okay, so now we have like a really thin looking shirt shape that's all one-sided. I'm gonna go into the deformer. I'm just gonna smooth it a little bit. And then what I want to do is Z remesh it to be a lot lower than this. So it's really easy to work with the shape. Call the police on him. You can't read. I don't know what to do about it because it's since 8:30 a.m. he's been drilling and sawing. There's like door frames and he's sawing the frames off the door. And there's like, I have, the lift is right next to me. Like I don't have an apartment next to me on this side. But there's a room that goes up into the roof, and I think he's going in there because I keep hearing banging on this wall, and it's been really bad all morning. Did you help him? I did not help him. Because I'm not sure if he said, help, can you help me pick this up? But yeah, and then after that there was nothing, and the banging continued, so it's just like, okay, but... Or just leave him locked in. Well, he's been... He deserves it, man. He's been drilling for like, since 8:30 in the morning. Nah, I'm sure he's fine. I listened out to say if he said help again, then I would definitely go outside, but he only said it once. Plus, I'm painfully shy of people, so if somebody called for help, I'd probably be like, I don't know what to do. There's just no excuse. Okay, so I want to go a little bit lower than that. There you go, something like that. So crazy, crazy low. And then just remesh it one more time, see if it fixes up that corner. Probably asked for help from his friend. Yeah, that's what I think it was. He needs a lion. I was gonna go outside and lie and basically say, oh, my partner does night shifts and it's like 8:30 a.m. on a Saturday. Could you please like wait until later to do this? Or at least like, rather than do it on the balcony, like, because basically it's like the balcony that attaches all of the apartments together. Rather than doing it on the balcony, could you take it like outside rather than right outside of people's homes? But I'm not confident enough. I'd like think he'd just go no, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave now. I tried. Okay. So normally whenever I do clothing, I always allow the thickness from the extract to stay the way that the default was. I never really think to try just using the one-sided face. and deleting the insides and then just using panel loops to give it thickness. It's never something that I ever thought of doing, so that's why I wanted to try it today, because you end up with a much cleaner result from what I've seen. And then I can like flatten this out without thinking, oh no, it's gotten too warped along the edges. I don't know, it's just a little thing I wanted to, that I've picked up. And it's probably very obvious to some people. And, but to me, this was like a new thing that I hadn't seen before. When I need help, ask twice. Yeah, ask twice, because sometimes you think, did you just ask for help? I don't know. And they listen out for another time that you might ask for help. That's what I do. So always ask twice, kids. Or else people like me are just gonna be like, okay. Okay. So there's not really going to be any creases in this because it's not really cloth. It's supposed to be kind of like a membrane, so it's going to be quite straight. We have a dog and a Hoover every other day of the week. For that one, generally work night shifts too. Oh, Arctic, that sucks. When I came back home from a shop, I walked past an Asian restaurant and there were Asian boys comparing Pokemon cards with their holders. They looked adorable. That's so cute. I used to do that. Just keep yelling fire until someone comes, with, hopefully with a cell phone. Hey, Angel. Uni's not that shy, really. I'm not too bad. Like, I was terrified when we met, but I got into it pretty quickly. But yeah, normally I'm like, in person, quite a timid person until you get to know me. But yeah, especially with strangers, I'm just like, God, her hands always make me laugh looking at them. It's just like, oh my gosh, look at these. I am going to make new ones and Dynamesh them on, so I would just ignore these. But yeah, they always make me laugh. Hey Sunny, how you doing? Okay, so we have this now. Just going to make sure it's about as clean as possible. So I'm losing quite a lot of form every time I'm dividing. So I might try to crease along these edges. Did I pick the wrong brush? Oh yeah, I did. Crease, edge loop complete. Oop. Okay. No, stop. Accidentally clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, no, that's gonna have to be custom. Okay. So we want crease, edge. Oh no, we can do crease by polygroup edge, actually. Okay, 1 minute. Let's try and go to crease, polygroup border. There we go. So hopefully when we divide this, there we go, it should keep its form. I know, the hands are like the worst. Maybe it helped that me and Finch were more scared of you than you were of us. Oh my gosh, yeah, probably. You both had met before that point, right? But yeah, I'm going to EGX in 2 weeks. So let's see how that goes. Let's see how I deal with that. One thing at a time. Hey Reggie, how you doing? Okay. Panel loops. Okay, so we're still creased. Probably want the thickness to be regroup panels, regroup loops, ignore grouping borders. Okay. See, this right here, this is the kind of geometry that you don't want, because then when you divide it, it gets a little bit funny. I could try to sculpt it out, but... Be meeting me for the first time? I'm terrified. So you got a bevel profile. Don't think I want to bevel anything. Yeah, I think that's fine. And you probably only want... So I'm probably going to slide this edge down to kind of help with that transition a little bit. Maybe just have, rather than the connection go up here, kind of slice it to go all the way around. Quite like it has here. So let's see if we can do a slide. Just grab this and just slide it down a bit. Oh. Just to help with this edge. trying to think about how I can bridge this over. So I know it's a star, but I'm just going to go in and then... hopefully... Nah, that kind of has to be there. Just delete that one. Maybe that one as well? No. Okay, I think that'll be fine. Okay. Yeah, okay, that works. We just gotta fix this edge. Do you need so many edge loops? No, probably not, but I can always go in and just delete those. But what I do want to do is crease along the edge of this one. So let's grab delete edge loop complete. So I don't want this. So it kind of got twisted in here, really. Okay, and then I want to crease it. Make sure I keep the straight edge. So I don't normally use ZModeler that often, it's normally just for stuff like this, so still quite new to it. And then I want to get back the kind of shape I had before. Just make this a bit sharper. And maybe go in and just inflate in here a little bit just to help with how thin that edge gets. Hey Tesla, how you doing? Okay, fight again. That looks okay. There you go. So that looks much cleaner than if I were to do all of that by hand, so I'm glad that I've actually sat down and did it a little bit nicer. I'd have to fill in all of this because we're thinking about maybe printing it so as well. So when it comes to like doing the final sculpt, I'll have to make sure that all these gaps are all filled in by inflating the shirt quite a lot. Probably by creating some kind of plug. But right now it looks pretty good. So, alright, so I'm going to work on the face a little bit more. There's a couple of critiques that I got from Niori, so I'm going to quickly read those out. This might be an odd question, but what tips do you have for creating geometry as to avoid problems later? I'm new to 3D modeling. Define problems. I guess the thing that would be if you're modeling, is try to keep your edge flow as consistent as you can, and like your poly size. So a lot of the time you'll end up with like stretching of quads. That can cause a problem later for stuff like skinning. If you have lots of stars in deformation areas, that can be problems for skinning. I'm just talking purely about characters. So by stars, it's like stars or poles. That's where you have like 5 edges all coming into one vertice. That can be a problem if you have it, say, like in the corner of the mouth, or if you have it like right in the crook of the elbow. That can be a problem. But still, a lot of people can find ways to work around those. But mainly I would just say to try and keep your like mesh density, so like your polygon surface, as consistent as you can, and as clean as you can. So if you find that there's like a really dense area of geometry where you don't really need it, try to clean it up. But yeah, I would just say try to keep everything as clean as you can, and by doing that, just look up anything that you're modeling, try to find an image of someone else who's made it and look at their topology and try to get an idea for the edge flow of the surface. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty, it's one of those things you learn as you go, because you have to make the mistakes to learn how to stop them and prevent them. So I could probably find ways to be like, yeah, these are all the things you could do to prevent issue, but unless you've run into the problem yourself, you're probably going to forget all of them. So yeah, I would just say keep things as clean and as consistent as you can. And when you run into the problem, try to find a way to solve it, and then you'll realize what you did that you could have changed. But yeah, it's difficult to say exactly what you could be doing. Instead of dividing, work in a dynamic mode. Really? Let's have a look. So press D. Ah, okay. Would it be possible to ask for a little advice and critiques? I'm 2-3 days old in ZBrush and I'm really interested in fast development. Yeah, go for it. What do you want? What's up? Hey Cloudbree, how you doing? Just got back from watching Logan. Ooh, no spoilers, but I love it. Okay, face. Oh yeah, I was going to open up what the critique was for the face. So... Okay, I'm just going to take a screenshot of it. So this is what Miori said. The nose is very rounded, no sharp corners or angles. The bridge doesn't go wider at the top of the nose. It goes thinner, but blends in. And yeah, okay, so... Plus, a lot of people ask me this on the YouTube channel. I've replied to a couple of people, but the reference board that I use is called Pure Ref. Oh no, I didn't get the whole thing. There's a little bit more to say. Okay, let's delete that. Yeah, this is Miori's art. You can find her at Miori, like, everywhere. But this is a collab between her and I. So anything that I do on... hold Shift D. Okay, so let's start with the nose is very rounded, no charcoal. Upper lip is smaller, nose is shorter. So let's kind of go to the lower subdiv. Let's select the nose. Got lazy mouse on. Let's select the nose. Auto mod's overpowered. Good job. Good try though. I never learned how to use ZBrush. I use Max. Well, ZBrush is different to 3ds Max. ZBrush is sculpting, whereas Max is modeling. So it's two different workflows. But if you do want to try ZBrush, there's the free trial. If you scroll down into the info section, you can download it for 45 days, I think it is. And just give it a go. See how you like, what you think of it. But normally you use 3ds Max and ZBrush together as a part of a high to low workflow. Okay, let's crack open Photoshop. Let's quickly have a look at this. I already registered my product. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, so what I would probably say, which I say to everyone, I think it looks really good for like your second sculpt, to be honest. And I always forget to do this as well. Let's get a new one up. Is try to look at the planes of the face while you're sculpting. It's going to help you define the forms and the structure of, you know, like your jawline, and it kind of says to you what's in shadow, what's in light, and it helps you to understand the form changes between the bottom of your eye to your cheek, to your jaw, like cheekbones to your jaw, what these shadows are and what these transitions are. So if you try to look up, I just typed in planes of the face. Try to reference to stuff like this on where your light and shadow should be. So what I can see is your brow isn't quite as defined as it should be. This should probably be set in shadow a lot more. Your nose needs to be... so what I can see in your nose is that it's very flat at the bottom, whereas your nose from the side kind of does this. So this part you've got shoved under like this. So it's not quite going to shade enough. So what you normally see is quite a large shadow under the nose, and that's because it doesn't... Oh my god, the banging on the wall. That's because it's not completely away from the light. So because yours is so away from the light, you're only seeing a very small amount of shadow underneath. So you're losing a lot of the form under the nose. Your eyelids, they sit like this over your eye, whereas yours are quite flat. So I think it's more just about understanding these forms and working them in a little bit more, because your lips are quite flat as well. So what you'll find... Why are none of this open? So yeah, you'd normally see a shadow that's quite flat here. And rather than this being the height of light, it would be more here. And then this would kind of be in shadow a little bit. So yeah, it's just about understanding these forms. So if you study like the planes of the face, try to reference to your own face, like where these transitions are. So this half is more of like a very broad sense of the form. And this half is more of a refined part. So when you sculpt, try to start building in these forms first, which are the very large forms, and then work in the secondary, which is like all the tighter pieces, like how under the eyelid, you have this kind of shape. But yeah. Yeah, I think for your second try, it's really, really, really good. I like how you've instantly straight up gone into something more imaginative. But yeah, I would probably just start thinking about what the structure of a face is and studying that a little bit, and then use that to kind of like bring into your models. Okay, where's my ref board? There it is. Lip is smaller, nose is shorter. Just gonna soften up her nose a little bit more. Okay, and then she said that her nose actually gets thinner at the top, but is quite soft. Oop, yep, best ears ever. A carrot nose, maybe? I'll probably start again from scratch, make a couple of basic sketches with the correct structure. Yeah, no, I would always say start again from scratch, especially when you're learning. The last thing you want to do is kind of keep working on the same piece over and over again when you're learning. You kind of want to build new ones, because the next one you make would be a lot better than your old one could have ever could have been if you just sat and fixed it. Okay, so I want to change the eye shape a little bit. Okay, start my projects from scratch. I think it's more like when you're literally just starting out. Plus, sometimes I always think, oh, I should probably just do this from scratch rather than just sit and just work on the same thing. Like, I could probably make her hands work, but I will definitely just be starting from scratch. So just gonna start working on her eyelids a little bit more. So her tear ducts need to go in a little bit more. Hey Louie, how you doing? Just been practicing with the idea of makeup areas you spoke of. Really helped. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad it did. For anybody who doesn't know, I basically just talked about how when it comes to the structure of the face, not only does planes of the face help for me, but also thinking about contour makeup. If you just watch a couple of contour tutorials where people basically start talking about how what areas of the face that they'd like to put in light and what areas they put in shadow and what they kind of use to help structure the face in terms of makeup, I find really helpful as well. In just kind of pushing the form. But also if you're ever going to do character art, especially if you're going to do females, doing some research on makeup is always going to be really helpful. So I'm just trying to add that little bit of kind of like fat that sits around the edge of your mouth. I think it always gives girls like a really cute look. Working on a baby dragon. I'm stuck since 3 days on its legs. I know it seems a little bit strange, but if you looked at like lion legs, like what kind of dragon are you going for? Okay, let's get smooth, stronger up. There you go. Just gonna try and soften up the Cupid's bow a tiny bit. Mouth fat hype? I don't know, I like it. Pamu? Pamu. Who's Pamu? Oh, I know who that is now. Yeah, totally. I kind of get what you mean. Yeah, totally. Look at this. Looks just like her. Faces look really messed up on male or female's faces with that corner mouth fat bump. Do you think so? Oh, without. Okay, yeah. No, I think so too. I think it's just that extra... I don't know. It's like that little bit extra that kind of makes it feel like the mouth is actually closed rather than just sitting there. Like, once again, from watching speed sculpt videos, I started watching people putting in this kind of form here. And I just fell in love with it, even though before I never used to put this kind of thing in there. I did the same with Effelt. She doesn't have this. And I really feel like she suffers because of it, so... It just helps to kind of make it feel like her mouth is actually closed, because when you open it you lose all of that, but as it closes you get like those forms right underneath here. Because normally I used to just add like this chin thing, but then you forget that there's this kind of bump here which happens. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's kind of just like fatty tissue that builds up right underneath kind of here. And it's those kind of subtleties that really help to push a piece, I think. the mouth muscle is like a fat circle that's wrinkled at the corners, which is where I think the fat bump thing comes from. Ah, okay. I kind of want to bring in her cheekbones a tiny bit more this way. Like, just kind of bring it forward a little bit. Like this part. Just trying to match the shadow that she's put in here. Maybe just by pushing it up. And then blend that out. Yeah, that looks better. I'm just trying to match the shadow that she has. And that's when you know that the planes of the face comes in, because Miori has drawn in the plane here, right along this transition. And she's made the height of her highlight comes from her eye down to her lip. So you know that this kind of plane sits about the same, in the same area from what she's drawn here. And then you can see in the shadow here that her nose goes quite deep in, like, further back. So that goes quite deep. And what you're trying to do is basically match your shadow to the drawing, and trying to analyze what she's done to get these transitions, and what kind of structure is there, which can be really hard sometimes when you don't have something as well rendered as this is. There's a knot in the geometry, so it's making it hard to get that nice and smooth, but... Hey Zero, welcome back. Okay, so with her eyelids, I don't just want them to be round. There's a lot of kind of subtle form changes, and it's actually made up of lots of straights, so I need to kind of sit and clean up her eyes a lot to make sure I'm not just falling into the trap of just making them round. And then there's quite a lot of fatty tissue that sits on your brow. Just want to make sure you get that in there. As you're talking about all these features on the face, I'm finding myself prodding about my face and going, oh yeah, that exists. I find that very helpful. I think that's why FL looks a lot like me, because I would use my own face as reference. It's very hard to look at a drawing and not think, okay, so I do it as well when I talk. I touch my face as I do it, because you kind of, because your fingers are so sensitive, you're able to feel those forms that sit here, and you get more of an understanding of it. So it's really strange, but touching your face does actually help. So when you're like, okay, this part sits quite deep in here, and this here is quite flat and comes out there, so you can kind of trace the form. I hope you didn't locate the third eye. A buddy of mine would draw over the concept of the Photoshop and mimic the poly loops, so that when you draw the model, you had a kind of a guideline. No, yeah, I think that can be helpful. A lot of people who do likeness sculpts, they say to draw the planes of the face on the actual person so you can get the idea of where you're going with it. I don't do that anymore. I used to do it for a while ago, but I haven't done it in a really long time. I'm just glad I don't have a camera on me. I'd look a little bit daft. Oh, rude! You trying to say I look daft? How dare? I'm always unconsciously posing out what I draw, which is a bit awkward when I'm drawing cute girls or something. I do that as well. If I like, I think when I was posing, FL was another one where anybody who's watching me on the stream, I was always posing, I was always trying to stand up and get myself in the pose over and over again. Just like, no, okay, what do I have to break to get myself to be in that position? And it made it a lot easier, because I think we're very artists, obviously we're very visual people, so when it comes to trying, when you can't visualize something and you know I have to get my arm from this position to this position, you do the motion, so then when you actually do it in the rig, then you know what you're posing, you know what like kind of motion you have to make to get it into that position. And I've only worked with an animator once in person, but he would go in another room and like go and do the animation himself in person and then record it and then put it on his screen, which I think a lot of animators do. So I think eventually when you work in a creative environment, you will just get used to the fact that you're going to do that. A lot of the stuff I did for the trail as well, some of the concept scenes I did of like characters playing cards, and some characters were, was another one. They were like sat at a campsite or sharing food. I made other team members pose in, so then I could do it. But yeah, just to have that reference, I think always helps. I'm striking a pose right now. Are you suggesting it's wrong to strike a pose? It's worse than you're animating. I left my curtains open one day and somebody noticed me randomly swinging at air. I like to pose things out to feel how my muscles move, and that helps to inform me. I think so too. I think just doing that stuff, like, some people don't even think about doing it. So it never really crosses their mind that they could actually just pose it out themselves, you know? Hey Yone, how you doing? Okay, so I need to push this back. Okay. Getting a little bit closer to what I want the corner to be like. Ah, Joas, I think they're really cute as well. It's going to be interesting to try and make them in 3D though. Because they look, the forms in them are quite strange. Like they seem very flat. So it's going to be interesting to try and get them in 3D. And to get them kind of working in that kind of, I guess, form. Be kind of like trying to analyze what form they really are. Oh, what are you sculpting, Thunder Bunny? gonna blend this out a tiny bit like that. Right, let's do a save because I haven't saved yet. Do those cat speakers actually play music? Yes. And they light up. I'm not sure if... Nah, they're flat. You have to charge them. But yeah, no, they play music and they light up as well. It's going to be a statue. Yep. So I'm going to make it game res, but it's going to be printed. So it's going to be both. Well, printed is more like a dream more than anything because that stuff costs loads of money, but... Roller derby girls, show me. I want to see. Whisper me a link. Because I don't know if you can post links here. What am I doing? Okay, I think from looking at the drawing, how she's rendered right under here, I think I need to give her that pouty look, I need to give her some more lip fat. All hail lip fat. Chub, 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 chub. Where's my mirror? See, I do this a lot as well. I'm trying to get an idea of what happens when you're pouting, I guess. Okay, yeah. So I need to work on pulling this back a little bit more. Okay. Oh no, yeah. Tiny prints aren't very expensive, but this would probably end up being something like 6 inches, 6, 7 inches in resin. Okay, let's look at what changes we've made today. So let's do a eye paint. Better than what I've got here, like an actual eye paint. Actually thinking a little bit just to carve in here a tiny bit more. Just start to blend out the bottom lip a little bit. Yeah, okay. Would you consider creating pieces to have printed for sale as a cast resin kit? Either paint your own or pre-painted? I'm hoping to do that at some point. It's definitely something that I want to explore. Because this is something that Miori and I would say would look really cool as a print. We still have to design a stand for her. But to do something like that costs thousands of pounds. So it's not something you can just lightly think about. You have to think about customer service and about what are you going to do if some of the prints get broken, and what if they get lost in delivery. Like, you still have to, if stuff like that gets lost, you still have to pay for them, you know. Stuff like that is really hard to deal with. And I would love to be able to print stuff and kind of see, there's nothing quite like the feeling of seeing your work printed. Like, even if it's not a 3D print, like, before seeing my work printed on a piece of paper is so exciting. So to imagine having your 3D model, like, realized and you're holding it in your hand would just be insane. But to have stuff like that is quite expensive, and you have to go to all the right places. And once there's a print in hand, I can take it from there in terms of production, molding, and casting. I'm looking for artists. I'm a traditional sculptor. Oh, wow! Do you have a link to your stuff? What made you want to pick up ZBrush? There's a couple of traditional sculptors that I know. There's a couple of traditional sculptors I know that have started going digital, so I'm quite interested in knowing where, I guess also so that we can share it on the YouTube. What makes a traditional sculptor want to go digital? Like, is it kind of like wanting to try something new, or just trying to see what this ZBrush business is about? Because in Japan and China, a lot of people are starting to take on ZBrush for like anime figures. It's only just started kind of kicking up over there. So I suggest to anybody, if you want to learn ZBrush, try to find some toy makers in Japan, because they are always posting up anything that they learn on ZBrush, any tricks that they've learned or developed, or like anything like that. They post up on Twitter all the time. So try to follow them as well if you want to like pick up any neat little tidbits. And how you doing, Mona? How are you today? How many polys do you have now on the head? That doesn't matter because it's a high poly sculpt, so it would be millions. Who are you going to work with together to print it? I don't know yet. That would be something I have to explore. Loads of people have great things to say about ownage, but I need to explore stuff like that. But we won't be exploring that kind of idea until like well into next year probably. Is it worth learning Sculptress and starting out opposed to ZBrush? Sculptress and ZBrush are both done by the same company, but their workflows are different from what I understand. What I would probably do is get on the ZBrush trial, which is 45 days. You can scroll down and get a link to that. And then probably get ZBrush Core if you're just starting out. ZBrush Core is like $140 or something, so I would definitely try to get on ZBrush Core rather than Sculptress, only because I think the workflow is different. If you want to make that transition from one to the other and make it seamlessly is what I mean. If you just want a great free sculpting software, Sculptress is the way to go. But yeah, I would probably get on Sculptress. Yeah, like Yone said, Sculptress if you just want to see if sculpting is for you in general. But if you want to get into ZBrush and you've done digital sculpting before, probably ZBrush Core or try the trial. Because if you've never done sculpting before, ZBrush can be a bit heavy. Okay, I need to work on this eye because I haven't really done anything with it and it's looking a little bit sad. Even though I might be removing these ears, I kind of want to work on the ears just a little bit because they're severely lacking. The interface is so busy, even in Core. I like Sculptress for the ease of navigation, but quickly found it was limiting my creation process. Yeah, I would probably... You can customize your own UI. So if you find that the ZBrush UI is too heavy, just customize it and remove a lot of it, strip it all back. I've customized the hell out of mine, but that's mainly because any button that I use over and over again, I have available. So I don't find it too busy. I hear you. I'm so sorry. I'll never do that again. Hey, Steven. How you doing? You make me want to learn ZBrush. Do it. Just get the trial. Just try it out. Oh yeah, I said I was going to do eye paint. Okay, let's do eye paint super quick. I might make that a part of my UI because I use it a lot now, so just go to, what am I doing? Preferences, config, enable customize, color. Just gonna grab fill object. Oop. Pop it there. Make sure to store it. Yes. Okay. Because I use fill object all the time now, so it's really handy to have it just up there. Okay, so I'm gonna grab some kind of light bluey color. Oh, Ravager. No, I don't have Facebook for my art, so I've actually removed that. That's really, really old, but Facebook never removes pages. It just kind of says, oh, you're not going to log in anymore, but I don't use that at all. That's like from when I was at university, so send us a link to it though, because there's probably some really old, terrible stuff on there. But yeah, that's super old. You're probably better off getting me on Twitter or ArtStation. Oh yeah, Ravager, probably get me on Twitter then, if you want to keep in touch. It's at Unicorn Dev Games. I don't really use Facebook, like, ever, so probably better off just getting me there. So you always kind of want to not put it bang in the center. The third eye is much creepier in 3D. Ah, thanks, boy fruit. Hey, Not Miner, how you doing? Hello, Milk is Life. And then she has kind of like a cat eye, so... The third eye should have its own eyebrow. Oh my god. I like how the winged eyeliner goes up both sides. I think that's clever. Just push it a bit more to a turquoise color. Gonna get that in there. Okay, so her eyelids are coming out a little bit too far again. Grab those. I always end up doing that at some point, just making them like really far away from the eye. Thought I could cheat the system. And then I didn't have to paint the other one, but... Third eye should be a little bit more of a round shape. Yeah, I haven't really worked on the third eye yet, so I will get to it. Triophobia. Sorry, I really hate that song. Where's delete? Yeah, I always find once you've added eyes, just like you've painted in the eyes, the character always feels a lot more alive, I guess. It just makes it easier to recognize them. Okay, so need to pick a eye material. Hey, there we go. Okay, so that just makes her feel a little bit more alive. Then we can... 14 days left till what? Oh, wins it. Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, till what? Then I forgot. Wins it. No, I don't use toy plastic for the eyes. There's a custom material that I use. I can find a link for you, but I just had to unzip it because I didn't download it ahead of time. But yeah, I can send a link in the chat if anybody wants it. Yeah, toy plastic, I just feel like the reflections aren't big enough, I guess. Give her a little bit of eyeshadow. Can I get a link? Yeah, of course. All right. So I basically just get it from the ZBrush forum. And all I download is this eye reflection one right here. And yeah, that's the one that I use by Slosh. So yeah, I just download eye reflection. I don't take the textures or the light or anything. I just take the reflection. How much longer do we have? What time is it? We have another hour and 15, so we can probably like get part of her hair maybe blocked in that time. But yeah, if you ever feel like you're not getting anywhere with the face, I think adding poly paint always really helps. Working in the matte cap, I think you can kind of get a little bit lost. And I think the best example is this, is if you look at, you know, like face scans. When you look at the just plain matte cap version of a face scan, it always looks really, really different to what the photograph looks like. It never quite looks like them. But then once the textures are applied, that's what really makes them, I guess, pop. So I'm very lightly going to paint this new material on. Which was... can't remember where I just put it. Very lightly just going to... Nah, that's not gonna work. Now I was gonna paint it to give her a glossy look, but I'll have to use a different material because it's too different. No, poly paint has nothing to do with the UVs. Poly paint is vertex painting. So that's why it looks really, really low res on your low res model. So it paints onto the vertices. Okay. Do the hair, please? Yeah, of course. Okay, we'll start blocking in the hair today then. We have the same problems with lighting. Sometimes you want to light on grays for faster interaction, but you always want to check with the textures or there's a danger that you light too contrasty. Yeah, I think it's always check it with some kind of texture, even if you don't have anything like really solid to work from. So, you know, like I have to create a poly paint to do it, but it's always going to look a lot better when you check it with some kind of texture. Because I might have thought, oh man, her expression needs to look more sad. But at the end of the day, the thing that makes the expression is the brow. So I could have like sculpted in the brow to look more sad. But ultimately it's the eyebrows that do that. So I could have wasted a lot of time really pushing the form in the eyebrow to find out that, oh, actually, I don't really have to do a lot in her actual sculpt. A lot of it is the texture. So just doing a quick poly paint always helps. And that was something that actually the person who did this sculpture replied to one of my polycount forums and said, try always putting a poly paint on it. Don't just leave it gray until the texture comes, you know. So that's been something since then that I've tried to make sure that I do. Okay, so we got some kind of poly paint on here. I'm gonna switch back to just working in sculpt mode. I'm really gonna quickly block in her ear, just something super rough, and then we'll start working on her hair. So, oh, I actually put it there. There we go. I always thought you had to have UVs first before poly painting. No, poly painting is literally poly, quad, the poly itself. So the vertices on the poly are what you're painting. Hey Bloomseeker, you can add more black shadow under the eyelid. Yeah, I could do. I don't want to, I think she has a little bit here, but I don't want to put too much makeup on her. To be honest, I heard from some animators that they're really not happy when a character artist gives a facial expression. I can understand why, Crisley, because if there's going to be a lot of facial animations, then yeah, they're normally not going to want it. But this is where my retort to that is, and it's the same about posture. Some people say, oh, don't model your character slouched because the animators don't like it. If that is their resting posture or their resting expression is always to kind of look that way, then I would say to give them some kind of expression. It also helps while you're sculpting them if you just don't, if you give them a little bit more life. I could make the fingers completely straight while I'm sculpting them to make the animators' lives a little bit easier, but giving them more of a relaxed pose makes them feel like more real to me. And I've heard a lot of other people say it as well. You want to kind of make your characters feel as real and as interesting as possible, and giving them just a really blank expression with a really kind of I guess, stiff pose, which is what the T pose is. So I actually sculpt things in A poses because it feels more natural to me. Yeah, it might make the animator's life easier, but when you're trying to build a character, it's very hard to realize them and imagine them as a character when they're in such stiff positions. So you want to kind of make them as expressive as you can without going too far. That'll do, because I'm probably gonna... She might not have ears in the end. Just want to make them a bit shorter though. You have to have the eyes on a straight plane looking forward. They should be on a slight angle. Yep, no, you're right. An expression isn't bad. It's nice as long as it's not really expressive. Yeah, no, I think if they have a relaxed expression is what you want. You don't want like a really stiff kind of like face. But yeah. I much prefer to give them some kind of expression. I mean, look at her eyebrows now. Aw, yeah. Yeah, that'll do for now. Kind of want to soften that up a bit though, actually. There you go. Alright, so. Does she have both human ears and cat ears? No, I think she just has cat ears. But the reason I've put the human ones in is because it just helps me with the proportion of her face. Your ears always... I don't know, I find it very hard to do a face without them. So you have certain landmarks on your face that help with the proportions. So obviously you have the chin to the top of your head. You have the middle point, which is normally about where your eyes sit. And then from the top of your brow is where your ears sit to the bottom of your nose. And I find it very hard to do to kind of structure and build the face without ears. So even though I'm going to be removing them, I like to have them there as kind of like a reference point. So they will be removed eventually, but it's just so much easier to work with when they're there. Hey Zolly, how's it going? How's your model for the ArtStation challenge coming along? That you can find on my ArtStation. There's an update. Right now he's just got a block in, but I've got a little bit more freelance work to finish today. I've got like one more blend shape to do, and then after that I'm going to start working on his face. So yeah, we've got a little bit more before I can start working on him, but yeah. Okay, how long do we have? We have an hour. Thank you, Zolly. I think our face is done now. I'll probably get some more info from Miori on what she thinks, but I think we're pretty much done on the face. How long have you been doing freelance work? For about 3 weeks. Not very long. Mainly because I work full-time as well, so I just do some stuff that I can do on the side. Hi Imprint, how you doing? Princess Mononoke, hello. But yeah, I work full-time in the studio, stream and do freelance in my own time. So I just take on like stuff that's quite flexible right now. Okay, so hair. I think what I'm going to do is just build a really large form just for the back, just for like everything, and then start working on these French strands. And then we'll block in the ears as well. Bye Boy Fruit, thank you so much for coming. I can't stop looping that Meggy Moon song, It's All Your Fault. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sorry. It's an amazing song. Going back to listening while cooking, I just thought I'd say hi. Thank you so much, Zolly. Have a good meal. Have fun. Fua Fua loop, it doesn't stop. Yep. And then we'll probably, after I've blocked in the hair, we'll start working on like anatomy and her tail, because there's loads of pieces I need to block in for her tail, so. What program to use to try quick screenshots? So if you just go to type in snip, if you have Windows, it's just a snipping tool. And yeah, this is what I use. And then it just copies it automatically. Yeah, that's what I do. Is it hard to negotiate freelance when you work full time? I usually feel like people who commission artists want them to devote like 8 hours a day for their project. Some places are quite flexible with hours, and that's only because it's mainly because they know that freelancers have several projects on at once, probably. So there's a few freelancers I know that have like 7 projects on at once. So if you're very, very honest about that, you're looking for flexible hours, something that doesn't have super tight deadlines, because obviously my company is where my time is dedicated to. So all my time and commitment is with my company, and then stuff I do in my own time. So I take on stuff that's quite casual. Normally casual work is with indie developers, so if you want to look for stuff like that, then totally. Tell you the website. What website? I don't know what website you're talking about, sorry. Can you say what game this is for? No, it's not that I can't tell you, it's that it's not actually for a game, but everything that I make is game res. So this is all my personal work, but it's all game res work. But yeah, I hope that helps. Just look for casual stuff, I guess. How much time have you been 3D modeling? I've been modeling for 4 or 5 years, but I've been sculpting for 2. Because the university that I was at, we didn't do like ZBrush sculpting at my university. So I had to learn all of that myself when I left. Could have just used the deformation menu, but I didn't. All right, let's do some hair. Did you study or was you self-taught? I went to university, but I'm self-taught. Every time I Z remesh, I always think, oh, I haven't saved. Even though that was a very low Z remesh, and I'm not dynameshing anything. I'm always just like, oh my god, I didn't save that. Tell me the website because I want to make a Pikachu. Do you mean ZBrush? There's a link down below to the trial if you want to try it, but I'm not sure if that's what you mean. ZBrush, get out of here. This is when you trigger everyone on how you say ZBrush. There you go, now her forehead doesn't seem quite as big. But now what I'm going to do is, hopefully at a really low resolution, fingers crossed the stream doesn't crash. There we go. I'm going to dynamesh it. I'm so glad I caught this part of the stream. I wanted to see how you make hair. Yeah, I mean, mostly we'll be working on it, not in this stream, but in another. Mainly just because it takes so much time. But yeah, if you have, like, any questions or anything, just let me know. I'm not really into the wub wub wubs right now. Can we tone it down, please, music? None of those wub wubs, please. Okay. Maybe, I should make a script to block ZRemesh and Dynamesh from performing without warning dialogue. Maybe. That would be awesome, to have it be like, are you sure? Sometimes, because sometimes I keep forgetting to turn the button off, and then I'll accidentally Dynamesh everything in my whole life. That's always quite like, oh my gosh, please no, why are you doing this to me? Which is obviously my fault, but yeah, I'll just kind of, because I click around really, really fast. So I always end up, like, accidentally clicking it. Isn't that what Control Z is for? Oh yeah, but sometimes you Dynamesh at a really, really high resolution and it'll either crash the stream because OBS is like, oh my gosh, why? Or it will crash. So sometimes you don't want to Dynamesh at all. It's not that you can't undo it, because you can undo it. But sometimes you just don't want to have to be in a situation where you have to undo it. That's all. Okay. So, I'm going to do this in 3 pieces. Where do I find this Dynamesh my life? Imagine you could just Dynamesh your life into one big thing. Do you only model characters? What about environments and architecture? I do environments and architecture at work, but my specialism is characters. That's where my love is. But you can actually see... I do like all kinds of stuff at work, like GUI and animation as well, but what I do in my own time is mainly characters. Character already looks so different with that little bit of hair. Yeah, no, it really helps to frame her face. That's why before I think I made her face far too big. Because when you're sculpting stuff, it's the same as when I said, like, I don't like to sculpt faces without the ears. Having that reference point always really changes a lot of how the character looks, and I think hair is another one. You can actually end up hiding a lot of mistakes under hair as well. Okay. Let's do... Oops. Every time. What time is it? What do we have? We have a little bit. Do you guys want to continue just sculpting hair, or do you want to do the speed challenge in like 15 minutes? What do you want to do? Actually, no, I'm going to use a curve brush. Lock the start so I can't just drag it away from the top of the head. No! I just did it! You see what I mean? Turn off Dynamesh. Get out of here. Hey, back Ian. How you doing? You're so right about the ears. It's worth the extra time and effort. Speed challenge? Yeah, okay. We'll do a speed challenge. We'll do one. That was that star the source of her power? Is that why you hit it? Yeah, guys, don't look at it. Let's put mask by polygroups on. I know I could have done that in the curve functions, but it meant I would have had to do it again, and I kind of didn't want to. Just being lazy. So see, the planes of her hair are actually quite flat. And I've made these really round, so I will be either flattening them out or trying the curved strap brush rather than using the tube brush. See, this is when I think that her neck needs to be a little bit longer. Just auto group it. Okay, now I'm just going to create one big huge form just for the rest of the hair. Because this is just me kind of blocking in a couple of the shapes. I usually make a blob Dynamesh with snake hooks and then apply custom straps over that. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add, I'm not going to use snake hook, but I'm going to create one big form and then do some kind of like curved tube or curved strap on top of that. So. Cafe, how you doing? Do you want to see what Milo looks like so far? So I'm just going to grab move elastic just because it's a bit easier. Let's just make it symmetrical at first, actually. Z remesh it. How do you live stream? I just got Twitch. You need to download something like OBS. OBS or XSplit. Set it up with your stream key. How come you aren't making an extra eye a slot a bit more realistic in terms of functionality and anatomy? Deeper, broader, or something? I don't know. I feel like if I put it deeper, then it would sit funny on her forehead and it would ruin the profile of her forehead. If I made it wider, then once again, it would throw off the proportion of her face. So I'm trying not to make it wider than the width between her two eyes, otherwise it feels off balance. Yeah, I could probably make it more functional in terms of, like, realism, but I feel like it would ruin a lot of the composition and the design of her face if I were then to sit and just kind of, like, carve it out a lot further. So sometimes you have to kind of, like, have that marriage between functionality but also design. Oh, that's my alarm going off. So that means we have half an hour left. Ah! Someone just sent me a screenshot of the game we're going to be working on. How long have you started ZBrush, like, when you really started modeling? So I started modeling 5 years ago, about. That was when I was at university, but I've been sculpting for 2 years. Hey Snake Eyes, how you doing today? Nah, I don't think I'm gonna snake hook it. I need to draw in some flow first. Probably gonna use straps, so let's try it. Let's try get like this little piece here. Bye Drab, thank you so much for coming. Watching you, that's all. Very true to your name. Long waving hair, the nightmare of animators. So there's a lot of stuff to like get in to these hair strands. There's a lot of like shape language she's applying. That's going to be really, really tricky to get right, especially when sculpting. But if you look at like how anime hair is sculpted, it's insane the kind of like shapes they're able to get in there. So I'll have to make sure to really work on kind of capturing that. How many of you people are joining the ArtStation contest? Beardsley, I am. And how you doing? It's been a while. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing the ArtStation challenge. I've got my block out done, but there's so much to do. It's kind of crazy because now I have so many projects that I'm currently working on. I have so there's Milo, Gully, the freelance projects, ArtStation contest. And also, I'm trying to work on a small game with a friend of mine as well, like at the same time. So I've got so much going on all at once. It's a bit crazy. Song request? Oh, Night, I'm so sorry. I don't take song requests while I'm here because I don't want to get in trouble with like Twitch or YouTube music stuff. So I try to keep it to the playlist that I know that aren't gonna get like muted, so. Thank you so much for lurking though. The hair will be a static mesh. Sunny is still waiting on Gully. I know, but he's working on his fighting animation. So for anybody who doesn't know who Gully is, let me quickly get an image of him up. This is my baby Gully. This is who I'm working on in my own time. And he's going to be animated by another streamer called Sunny. He's designed by a friend of mine called Mario Manzanares. He's also on ArtStation. He's amazing. So I'm in the process of re-topologizing him right now. But link me to our ArtStation contest page? Yeah, sure, one sec. I'll get that for you. Yeah. By the way, game dev sucks. No, it doesn't. It's so much fun. Oh yeah, sometimes it can be hard, but I overall really enjoy it in general. Challenges. There's a link to mine. But yeah, this is who Gully is if I ever talk about Gully on the stream. Alright guys, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go get a drink. Well, I'm actually just gonna go and empty this one out and get a fresh one, but it'll be 2 seconds, so sorry. Sorry about that. So when you're talking for hours, you just need like a drink. An old man, really? Oh yeah, we were gonna do an old man last year as well, weren't we? Was Dorian in here? Oh my gosh, you pressed a button. What happened? Nothing. Everything seems fine. It's fine. I hope somebody clipped that so I could see. Rocat, how you doing? And I finally got to see your Twitch name so I could follow you. How you doing? About this and that. Not really sure what kind of treatment I'm going to be tackling for this. To be honest. Yeah, I'm not really... Any chance for a link to the Discord for the challenge? Yep. Okay, one sec. Let me get you one. Woo. Okay. What time is it? Okay, so it's 1:45. So we're going to start the speed challenge. For anybody who doesn't know what the speed challenge is, I always do it at the end of every stream. And you just basically join the Discord. And then you post in the art challenge group. So last time we had catfish and we had... What was the other one? I completely forgot what it was. Oh, catfish and dragon. So if you guys want to, we're going to start it in like a little while. You basically have 5 minutes to make something that we've all voted on. So if you guys want to make suggestions in the chat, go for it. Hey Kyle, how you doing today? Good morning. Let's go to... Dragon? Nah, we can't do dragon again. We did dragon last time, Angel. Can I still join the Discord? Yeah, of course you can. My Discord is really active, so if you want like a really active art community, then it's one of the places to be, I think. Everybody's always super nice. Lots of people use it all the time. I think it's quite a good... I really enjoy being there, and I think a lot of people do, so... Yeah, I need to figure out what I even want to do with these. Vampire beetle, goblin, or a troll? What's the difference between a goblin, troll, or an orc? Goblins, I imagine being tiny. Trolls are massive, and orc is somewhere in between, but incredibly buff. Okay, so we're gonna do... I've been working with ZBrush for 2 years. I don't know what a vampire beetle is, but let's do it. Let's pop that on there. What's another one? We can do goblin. An owl bear? Alright. Done it. So we got vampire beetle, goblin, or owl bear. Cast your votes. And then we're gonna go to timer. So you got 5 minutes. Derp shark. I love sharks so much. I wish you said that before, because I totally would have just said, screw it, overruling everything. Let's just do sharks. Sharks are my favorite. They're so cool. And we'll let the poll go for a little bit and see what you guys vote for. Oh, Rocat, there's something I want to ask how you do, and I want to know. I see you drawing, like you draw a shape and it fills it in ZBrush. How do you do that? Because it's wizardry to me. I saw you do it in some of your speed sculpts. You like draw like a horn and then it just builds it. It's like, how have you done that? Owlbear. Where should we upload our work? You upload it to Discord. And it's in the art challenge section. So there's like this little section right here. Is it Shadowbox? I don't think so. It might be. But she didn't draw it on a plane. She drew it on just in general. Curve, try, fill, brush. Yeah, probably. That sounds correct. But I was like, how did you do that? It's magic. But yeah, you just post it in here. This is where everybody puts them. But we only had time to do one today. Build topological brush? Maybe. I think it was a curve brush. I can't remember. I said no wub wub wubs and I'm getting all the wub wub wubs today. Is that a Triceratops? Oh my gosh. But yeah. It's a bear, owl bear, can you not tell? Look at this. It's totes legit. Totally. Just me being shameful. See, Thunder Buddy, you got to do a drawing. Yours looks so good. May I show you another 45-minute head sculpt I just made if you have a moment? You can post it on the Discord, because I'm just about to leave. Oh, Bloomseeker, yours actually looks cute. God damn. I screwed up. That looks great. I love it, Froyo. See, everyone else started to get the owl face in there. Mine just... Oh, man. I can't wait to see another owl bear embedded into Milo. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see how this looks. It's upside down. That's great. Oh, you did a cute little teddy bear version. That's adorable. Yeah. Perfect. Winning. I'm terrible at the speed challenge as well, Vency. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. I really appreciate you being here and for sharing your work and joining in with the speed challenges. They're always a lot of fun for me. It's time to go. Unfortunately, our time has ended. So next we have... Oh no, I don't think this has been updated. Who do we have next? Unless, once again, we do have Paul for Did You Know That on Tuesday again. That's what the schedule says. I think it's the same. Because the schedule says I'm doing it on Sunday. So, it hasn't been updated yet, but I think it's Paul that's up next. It says 11 a.m. PDT with Did You Know That? And you can follow me on my own channel at Unicorn Dev or on Twitter or Instagram at Unicorn Dev Games. And if you want to see any of my work, my name is Shayleen Hulbert, so you can find it on ArtStation. Oh no, I missed the whole stream. Hired gun, don't worry, it'll be on YouTube and it will be saved in past broadcasts, but I hope to see you next time. That was actually really fun. I've never had to do a speed sculpt anything. Thank you for the stream, no problem. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope that you guys have a lovely weekend. So, bye-bye!